Hello everyone, this is Erik Bryant and welcome to the Erik Bryant Show, episode 4. Coming to you 2 times tonight, hopefully with episode 4 and 5, since I missed yesterday not being able to come on and do a show because of being out on a date with my wife. Got back late, had to get up early for work this morning, so decided just to go ahead and do sort of a double take and try and have 2 shows today. We'll get right to it here with episode 4, and first we're going to talk about what has been the news of the day in sports. It comes from the NCAA college ranks, football, where the NCAA has fined Penn State with a $60 million sanction, a 4-year postseason ban, and they've also vacated all of Joe Paterno's wins from 1998 to last year, which equals 112 wins on his all-time record. They must also reduce 10 initial scholarships and 20 total for a 4-year period, so that's going to be 80 plus scholarships that the school will lose, which means the recruiting is going to get harder for the team. The amount of talent coming in obviously won't be as elite as it would have been if there would have been no penalties or bans on the school. And of course, the reasoning is because of the whole Jerry Sandusky 45 counts of child sex abuse that he was found guilty for and is now in jail for the rest of his life if he doesn't get caught by the prisoners, because that's one of those offenses that if Sandusky were to not be put in a solitary cell and has to interact with some of the other prisoners, he may very easily be found somewhere dead or something, due to the way he got into prison with the whole child sex abuse thing. Because I hear prisoners don't take too well to things like that, which they shouldn't, because people who aren't prisoners don't take to it well either. So why should anyone be different in that opinion of how they feel about people who do cruel, unusual, nasty things like that to children that could change their mindset to the worse for the rest of their life. Very emotional and physical, are emotional as well as physical. Mental problems can come from that, I'm sure. Just hoping that the victims of Sandusky don't face those problems all their life. Penn State paying the $60 million fine and an endowment for external programs preventing child sexual abuse are assisting victims and may not be used to fund such programs at the university. So that's good. $60 million endowment going toward assisting victims of sexual abuse, child abuse, and also the Big Ten Conference added $10 million, so that's a total of $70 million going toward that good cause, which is really something good. I think that might be one of the only good things that came out of today's ruling as far as positive things, money to help try and prevent situations like this in the future. Joe Paterno, with the lawsuit, or the wins, taken away, now his career record of 298, 136, and 3 ties puts him 5th on the all-time list. The team's there's also 6 bowl wins and 2 conference titles that were taken away and erased from the books as well. The athletic department is on probation for 5 years. And Joe Paterno goes from number 1 all-time on the list to number 5. His statue was also removed from outside of the stadium on Saturday. So Joe Paterno being hit hard with this as well, because people saying that he, being the head coach and a close friend to Sandusky, had to know something. A lot of people said that there was no way that he'd be that close to someone for that long and not know something was going on, not at least see some kind of fine or things like that. So not only did the Penn State football team take a big hit, but so did the late Joe Paterno. Bobby Bowden is now the leader in wins, but Bobby said the focus should be on the victims of Jerry Sandusky and not the on-field repercussions that were given today. Bobby's son Terry said, of course, he's proud of his father having the record, but there's no celebration within the family because of the way the record was obtained and the heinous acts, the unthinkable acts that had to happen by Sandusky for this to all take place and to give Bobby the opportunity to be number 1 on the list. Just a sad situation. I mean, as a Florida State fan, I say, just like Tommy, I'm happy that my coach, and to many Florida State fans, I'm sure, and especially me, Bobby Bowden, even though he's retired, is still my coach. He is number 1 now on that list. It's a great honor. I'm happy for him, but I am also saddened by the way it all happened and how he had to become number 1 on that list. It's just, I don't know, I asked a question on Facebook earlier, did not get a response from any of my followers as of yet, but the question basically was, do you think that the ruling on the Penn State football team was right, or was it too harsh? And the things that they did with Joe Paterno removing the statue, taking his wins away, was that too harsh as well? In my opinion, I think that the ruling was something that was bound to happen. It's not really a shock on anything that happened, except for maybe Paterno's wins being taken away from him. But I mean, if you're going to take team wins away while Jerry Sandusky was there, which makes sense because it has happened in the past, then obviously since Joe Paterno was coaching the team, you have to in turn take those wins from him technically because he was the coach. Taking his statue away outside, I don't know what kind of message that is. I guess they don't want any kind of links to Joe Paterno during all of this because they don't want the victims to feel that they are downplaying this under any circumstance, so they removed the statue. I think that the amount of scholarships that were taken away, I won't say it's unfair, but it really puts them in a bind because not only for 4 years, but I'm pretty sure that Penn State's going to struggle for a pretty long while, maybe even the next decade, because it's going to be really hard to recruit players with a 4-year probation and have to tell them, look, I know you're a great player, but you're going to come, if you come here, you're not going to be eligible to play in a bowl game. You'll never play in a bowl game here in your 4-year career because we're on probation and can't make the postseason. Just things like that can and will make it difficult for the football team, but you got to look at the bigger picture. What Sandusky has done is a whole lot more of an effect on the people that he did these things to, on the families of the people that he committed these awful acts on. So you got to look beyond the field and try and give justice to those victims And I think that for the most part the NCAA did that job. Going on to some NFL notes, the Detroit Lions cut cornerback Aaron Berry after his second arrest of the summer. Detroit is leading the league in the preseason, but on something you don't want to lead the league on. They have 7 arrests on their team this summer. 7 players have been arrested or gotten into some kind of trouble just this summer alone. So the Lions not heading into the right direction as far as team discipline goes going into this season. The Raiders traded wide receiver, speedster Louis Murphy, to the Carolina Panthers for an undisclosed draft pick. Murphy might help the Panthers out as another nice deep threat, speedy receiver for Cam Newton, as Cam tries to build on his good rookie season he had last year statistically with the Panthers. Chad Ochocinco is finally back to being Chad Johnson after his new wife said she had no interest in taking a numerical last name. Doesn't affect me too much because during this whole Ochocinco junk, I've been calling him Chad Johnson all along because I refuse to talk about or call a man's name who has a numerical last name as well. So I guess his new wife and I have something in common because we both don't really tolerate stupidity, and that whole name change thing to me was stupid by Chad Johnson, who's always been a little over the top to begin with. And on a nice note, a good note, half a dozen of the Denver Bronco players visited with some of the survivors of the Colorado Theater shooting on Sunday, which is a good thing, trying to go and lift the spirits of some of those victims, and a good gesture and a good move by the Denver Bronco players and the organization. Some baseball notes, the Braves could be trading pitcher Randall Delgado soon to the Chicago Cubs for Ryan Dempster. Now some outlets of media say the deal is already done, but Ryan Dempster is with the Cubs team in Pittsburgh as they get ready to play a 3-game set in PNC Park starting tonight. And Ryan Dempster told reporters that it's just speculation and there's no trade going on. So we'll have to wait and see who's right, who's wrong in that one. The Boston Red Sox looking to try and bolster their starting rotation that has struggled with guys like John Lester and Josh Beckett this year, as they look at 2 right-hand Florida or Miami Marlins starting pitchers, Josh Johnson and Anibal Sanchez. Sanchez was with the Red Sox organization, but they traded him away along with Hanley Ramirez in the deal that gave them Beckett along with Mike Lowell. On Sunday, a great note in baseball, Barry Larkin and Ron Santo were inducted into the Hall of Fame, the 2012 Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. Vicky Santo took the plaque and did the induction speech for her late husband, Ron Santo, and Vicky said, "It just feels right, a perfect ending to a remarkable journey. Ron left an awful hole for many of us today. This is not a sad day, this is a great day. I'm certain that Ronnie is celebrating right now." Ron Santo had problems with diabetes. He died on December 3rd, 2010 at the age of 70, and me being a longtime Cubs player, or excuse me, a longtime Cubs fan, always appreciated and valued the efforts of Ron Santo, and I say it's about time he was inducted into the Hall of Fame. And as I'm sure every Cub fan has said or thought, it was just a shame that number 10 wasn't there and wasn't able to be inducted himself and give his own speech. But his wife Vicky did a great job. When we come back in part 2, we'll be talking a little bit more about that nutcase James Holmes, Can't leave that guy alone. And we'll be talking about WWE. We'll be back in a moment.